When did you realize your siblings were using you? In my family, the youngest child took all the physical punishments for their siblings' mistakes. I spent ages 5 through 10 being beaten for things I never did. You see, my father inherited this tradition from his military father, a decorated Vietnam veteran who ran his household like a boot camp. One person bears the burden so the unit stays strong, Dad would say, polishing his service medals every Sunday morning until they gleamed like fresh wounds. He genuinely believed he was creating unbreakable family bonds, molding us into a single organism that moved and breathed as one. My mother went along with it because she'd grown up in a similar household where the eldest daughter took everyone's beatings. It made us closer, she'd insist, her voice hollow as an empty church bell. We learned to protect each other. I had 3 older siblings, Marcus, Diana, and Gabriel. They were good kids once, but knowing I'd take their punishments transformed them into something else. Marcus started skipping school, then progressed to shoplifting. Diana would steal mom's jewelry and sell it for concert tickets. Gabriel would fail tests on purpose, drawing obscene pictures instead of answering questions. During family meetings, they'd look at me with that toxic mixture of guilt and relief swimming in their eyes as Dad reached for his belt, the lather cracking like a whip in the silent room. The rule was simple but savage. Every Sunday night at exactly 7 p.m. we had accountability hour. The living room furniture would be pushed against the walls, creating an arena. Dad would list that week's infractions while I stood in the center, barefoot on the cold hardwood floor, wearing only a thin tank top and shorts so the belt would teach its lesson properly. 1 strike for every missed curfew, 5 for every failed test, 10 for any disrespect. The beating continued until Dad felt family honor was restored, his face red with righteous fury, veins pulsing in his temple like worms under skin. My siblings had to watch. That was part of it, teaching them through my pain. They'd sit on the couch in age order, hands folded in their laps, eyes forward. Mom would count the strikes out loud to make sure Dad didn't go over the prescribed amount. 1 for Marcus's tardiness, 2, 3, 4 for Diana's backtalk, 5, 6, as if her arithmetic made it medicine instead of torture. By age 7, I'd developed a constant flinch, my body perpetually braced for impact. Teachers noticed, but Dad was a respected police officer with commendations covering his office wall. Who'd believe me? I kept a hidden calendar under my mattress, marking which sibling caused each scar with colored pencils. Red for Marcus, purple for Diana, green for Gabriel. My body became a map of their faults. Marcus's shoplifting phase left 3 parallel marks on my back that looked like claw marks. Diana's secret boyfriend cost me a split lip that took 2 weeks to heal. I told everyone I'd fallen off my bike. Gabriel's pranks meant I couldn't sit properly for a week, shifting constantly in my desk chair while classmates snickered. The breaking point came on my 10th birthday, February 15th, a day that should have meant cake and presents. Instead, Gabriel had spray-painted obscenities on the principal's car in broad daylight, laughing as security cameras captured everything. That night, as Dad unbuckled his belt with practiced efficiency, Gabriel actually laughed. "At least I don't have to deal with this," he said, lounging on the couch like he was watching Netflix instead of his baby sister's torture. I looked at my siblings. Not one of them would meet my eyes. Marcus studied his phone. Diana examined her nails. That's when I realized they'd stopped seeing me as their sister. I was just their punishment proxy, a thing that absorbed pain so they could live freely. That night, I did something I'd never done before. When Dad raised his belt, the buckle glinting under the ceiling light, I ran. My bare feet slapped against the floor as I burst through the front door and into the February cold. I ran 3 blocks to my teacher Mrs. Lee's house, my lungs burning, wearing nothing but my punishment clothes. She opened the door to find me shivering on her porch, fresh welts rising on my arms. Without a word, she pulled me inside, wrapped me in a blanket that smelled like lavender, and made me hot chocolate while I showed her the fresh wounds and old scars. She photographed everything with clinical precision. When I told her everything, the years of abuse, the proxy system, my father's twisted concept of family honor, she called CPS immediately, but she was smart enough to know the system. "We need more than your word against a cop," she said, her kind eyes hard with determination. "We need evidence they can't ignore or explain away." So we got creative. Mrs. Lee gave me a tiny voice recorder, no bigger than a USB drive, to hide in my sock. For 3 weeks, I became a spy in my own home. I documented everything. Dad's rants about family honor and military discipline, Mom counting strikes out loud like some sick lullaby, my siblings discussing whose turn it was to mess up next. I even recorded Gabriel asking Marcus, "Think she'll cry this time?" She didn't last week. Maybe Dad's going soft. But when CPS showed up, Dad was ready. Full story on channel, link below.